Welcome to the Efteling, the Netherlands' legendary theme park where fairy tales, thrills and wonder collide. It is massive and it is magical, and if it's your first visit, you'll want to make sure that every minute counts. So strap on your 7-mile boots, because here are the 10 rides and attractions you can't afford to miss on your first trip to the Efteling. And if it's your first time in the Netherlands, I have a little bonus entry for you at the end. Let's kick things off with 2 honorable mentions, starting with Villa Volta. This is the first ever Vekoma madhouse, in which an illusion is created that you're being turned upside down. Villa Volta is one of the best madhouses out there, but I just can't include it because the entire story is in Dutch. And honestly, the few signs outside can't remedy that enough. The delivery of the story is why it is an iconic ride, but if you don't speak Dutch, it kinda falls flat. But still, the illusion is excellent, so it is worth a ride. The second honorable mention is the water show, Aquanura. You can compare this with the fireworks show like you would see at Disney. The show takes place at the lake at the entrance of the park, and it starts after the ride's already closed for the day, so it won't really eat into your visit. But this show is best experienced after dark, and if you are visiting on a long summer day, you will not get that full experience of what the show has to offer. Right, let's get on with the list. Starting with number 10, the Pagode. This rare intimate flying island is not the most thrilling ride, but if you are visiting the Efteling for the first time, there is no better way to see how big and how green the park actually is. The Pagode reaches a maximum height of 45 meters, and with that is the highest point at the Efteling. It is an eye-catcher, because you can see the gorgeous Thai-inspired temple slowly rising up and floating around from pretty much anywhere in the park. The Pagode is often a walk-on and it takes about 4 to 5 minutes, so it is worth experiencing just to take in the views of the park and the nature. Next up we have number 9, Carnival Festival. This is Efteling's take on Disney's It's a Small World. Carnival Festival is a Mack Rides Omnimover with 118 gondolas, so even though the ride can get a decent line, this line will constantly be moving. During the ride, you will be visiting different countries and regions around the world, ranging from the Netherlands to the Arctics. These scenes are given form by oversimplified dolls and animatronics, along with the mascots Yoki and Jet. But the best part, or the worst depending on who you ask, is the music. You will have the tune stuck in your head for days. It is truly an earworm, so you should not miss out on this Efteling classic. Number 8 is the Vliegende Hollander, or the Flying Dutchman. While the rollercoaster segment of this unique Kumbak watercoaster is a bit underwhelming, it more than makes up for it with the total package. Add in that it just recently received an upgraded scene on the lift hill, and you have a fun hybrid between a rollercoaster and a dark ride. As it is a watercoaster, it does end with a splash, but I don't recall getting too wet on it during my rides. The splash mostly looks imposing for the onlookers, and the Efteling makes sure to adjust the splash zone based on the temperature and the weather. So even in the winter, you should not skip out on the Vliegende Hollander. And maybe the biggest reason to get in line would be the theming of the queue and the station. It is out of this world! This makes a solid case for being the most beautiful rollercoaster station in the world. And we won't have to go far for number 7, which is just across the lake. Joris and the Draak, or George and the Dragon, are a pair of dueling GCI wooden coasters, so I'm giving you a 2 for 1 here. Personally, I think these are the best roller coasters of the park, but when you're visiting the Efteling for the first time, you would want a bit more than that. But still, if you are seeking some thrill during your visit, these are an absolute must-do. Joris and the Draak will pretty much always duel, as it is the main gimmick of the ride. The winners of the duel will arrive back at the station building under loud cheers, while the other side will get booed. So you better take on the challenge when you visit the Efteling. The next entry is an absolute classic, as we find Droomvlucht at number 6. This dark ride uses a pretty unique system, as you take place in gondolas hanging underneath a track. You will slowly move through dreamlike scenes, full of wonder and magical creatures, before ending the ride with an accelerating spiraling drop back down. Some people may even consider Droomvlucht a roller coaster because of this drop. Droomvlucht, which translates to Dreamflight, is often regarded as one of the top rides at the Efteling. But because it's themed to dreaming, it doesn't really have a story. But the scenes are gorgeous and you should not sleep on this dark ride. It is worth the wait. On the 5th spot, we find Baron 1898, the Bolliger Mabillard dive coaster. It is one of the smaller dive coasters in the world, and the layout is pretty short, but the Efteling has gone all out on theming for this trail ride. The lift hill and drop are already a gorgeous sight, climbing up the mine shaft before plunging down the depths in the smoke-filled hole, as the onlookers will hear the banshees wailing from the tunnel below. This ride also comes with the show section before the ride, which sets the tone for what is to come. And then you will have another show section before you ascend the lift hill. This is Efteling at its finest. So if you are feeling courageous enough for the plunge, make sure to give Baron 1898 a ride on your visit. Onwards to another ghastly ride with the 4th spot, Danse Macabre. This first of its kind internet dynamic motion stage is the most recent addition at the Efteling, replacing the much beloved Spook Slot. Where the Spook Slot used to be a show, Danse Macabre tries to do something unique. Instead of watching a show based on the music piece Danse Macabre, this ride makes you part of the show. The pre-show is in Dutch, so it is a bit hard to follow. But you will get a unique experience in return, with some surprises sprinkled in. And each bench will deliver a different ride experience, so it is worth re-riding if the day allows. For our 3rd spot, we will visit Pardoes at Symbolica. This trackless dark ride is a bucket list for many, and I can see why. You'll be queuing up to visit the king, but Efteling's mascot, the jester Pardoes, interrupts the briefing and opens up the staircase for a tour through the castle. You will have the choice of 3 different routes, which will eventually lead you to a unique room and a unique interactive element for that route. The theming of this ride is incredibly well done, and you will be completely immersed in the many wondrous rooms the castle has to offer. So don't miss this tour on your first visit. At the 2nd spot, we have Fata Morgana, a dark ride based on the folktales of 1001 Nights. Fata Morgana is another classic, and often regarded as one of the best rides at the Efteling. You will be completely immersed in the fictitious Forbidden City, from the slums to the palace. The ride has 139 animatronics, and each scene is full of life. And this boat ride is accompanied by a music score that will stay with you for the rest of the day. My advice is to ride Fata Morgana a bit later in the day, because this ride is close to the entrance and will draw in the crowds at the park opening. But later in the day, it is often a walk-on. And in first place is, of course, the Fairy Tale Forest, or Spookjesbos in Dutch. This is the heart of the Efteling and where it all began. You can currently find 30 different fairy tales in the Fairy Tale Forest, from structures along the path where you can peek through the windows, to complete shows that tell a story. While some fairy tales are narrated in Dutch, you can find a plaque near each scene with the fairy tale written on it in multiple languages. This forest spans 15 acres and it is quite a walk, but if you are visiting the Efteling for the first time, this is the experience you should do. This is by far the longest experience within the Efteling, but you can't say you have truly visited the Efteling without visiting the Fairy Tale Forest. Oh, and if it's your first visit to the Netherlands, I promise you a little bonus entry. But even if you live here, you don't want to miss this. If you're watching this video, you're likely not native in the Netherlands, and it may even be your first visit in the Netherlands, not just Efteling. So you should really get a stroopwafel here at Spookjesbos. They're delicious, it's typically Dutch, can't go wrong with them. And there we have it, the 10 rides and attractions you should absolutely do on your first visit to the Efteling. So which ride are you looking most forward to in your first visit? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, consider subscribing for more theme park content, vlogs and on-rides. And speaking of vlogs, if you want to get an impression of visiting the Efteling during the opening weekend of the Flying Dutchman's new scene, check out this vlog right here. It also includes another Dutch delicacy, pancakes.